Lesson 6-8 and 6-9 we're going to do together because they are so closely tied. And we're going to go over the notes of both today. I'm going to go over a couple of examples from your homework today with you. And then, like I said, your homework's only going to be 5 problems. And then tomorrow in class, you'll do the Savas for 6-8 and 6-9. And then that will wrap up our topic 6. All right, so it says angles, lines, and traversals. So I want to just really quickly, the word traversals. Oh, I don't know how that, oh, somebody changed to pink when they were up here. That's okay. All right, the word transversals, okay, transversals. I got my highlighter all. There we go. It's just a fancy math term for a straight line that crosses through parallel lines. So if these 2 lines are parallel and I say draw a transversal line, you're just going to draw some sort of line that crosses through them. That's it. It's a real fancy term for pretty basic concept. A straight line that intersects 2 parallel lines. And when you have that happen, you have some rules that are some congruency and similarity rules that help you identify what the measurement of all the angles are. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. All right, as just a quick introduction, I want everybody to draw this line on their paper down here, and you can use those dots to kind of try to make a straight line. Now, this does not really look like it, but this is an angle. Does anybody know what this angle measures? 180 degrees. Okay, this measures 180 degrees. Anytime you have a flat line, it's considered a 180 degree angle. And if you think of the Ferris wheel, right, if you get on at the bottom and you go 180 degree rotation, you're at the top. And so from the bottom to the top creates a straight line. That's a 180 degree angle. And then if you continue your ride all the way around back to the bottom, you've completed a full 360. So a straight line is half of a circle. And so it is 180 degrees. Okay, next concept, equally as easy, I think. If I draw this, okay, everybody draw that. And I tell you that this angle measures 30 degrees. Can you identify the measurement of this angle over here? Jace? 150. How do we get that? Well, we know that the 2 angles together make up 180 degrees. And if of those 2 angles, if 30 of it is in this angle, then that leaves 150 to be over here in this angle. And the 2 together have to add up to 180, right? These 2 angles together create a straight line or a straight angle. So when you add their measurements up together, they have to equal 180. And the fancy word, the fancy math term for that is, everybody write this down, supplemental. Supplemental angles, okay, when you add them together, they equal 180. So if 2 angles are supplemental, that means when you add the 2 measurements together, you equal 180. Okay, that's pretty much the gist of this whole lesson. It's really not a bad lesson at all. If you can take 180 and subtract a number from it, then you can do this lesson pretty easy. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple rules, and this is where, and I meant to tell you this before we started, you're going to probably need to share with a partner because I want everybody to have 2 different colors. And I don't have enough highlighters for everybody to actually come up and get 2. So you'll want to share with a neighbor and just share back and forth. If you need to come up and get a couple from up here, just please share with a neighbor so that you guys can all get a couple of different colors. And I'm going to show you why. All right. So a couple of terms that I want you to get used to hearing. When you see corresponding angles, that means they're congruent. Okay. So when you see corresponding, that means congruent. Interchangeable, it means they're the same. We've already talked about this. Okay. But when you see supplementary angles, you know they have to add up to 180. Okay, that's an important one that you got to remember because that's going to help you kind of fill in some of the puzzle pieces in this. And it's a couple of terms. There's this alternate interior angles, and then I'm also going to talk about alternate exterior angles. The main thing to remember is that they're congruent. So here's where your color coding is going to come in. Take one of your colored highlighters, and I want you to highlight angle 8. And now we're going to highlight in that same color every angle that is congruent or corresponding with angle 8, meaning that they measure the exact same. Well, you can always look at exterior opposites, means catty corner. So angle 2. So if angle 8 measures a certain degrees, we know angle 2 does. Also, interior, alternate or opposite interior angles, which means 8 and 6 measure the same. And you know that 2 and 4 measure the same. So notice everything is kind of across from each other. If it's across from itself, and this only works if the lines are parallel and there's a transversal line that goes through them. I kind of skipped over this, but just as a check, 2 ways you can tell lines are parallel. One is they're going to put these red arrows on them, okay? Or you might see it written like this, R is parallel to S, okay? Either one of those ways, as long as the 2 lines are parallel, the transversal will always follow this rule about opposite angles being congruent or corresponding, okay? So if I was to tell you that angle 8 measures 95 degrees, what would you tell me the measurement of angle 2 is? Brady? 95. What's the measurement of angle 4? Everybody. 95. What's the measurement of angle 6? 95. Okay, once you know one, you can fill in the other 3 just by using the transversal rule, okay? Also, now you're going to switch colors. So everybody swap with your neighbor, switch a color, get something different. You need a green one or anything, Essie? You good? Okay. If that doesn't work, you can come get this one. Good? Okay. Along those same lines, if I tell you that angle 5 measures something, a certain number, automatically you know that, think exterior opposites, we could say that 3 is also the same measurement as 5. Okay, you could also say 7 and 5 are congruent or they correspond, and you can say 1. So when you know 1, you know the other 3. Okay. Now there's one other thing that we're going to add to this. If I give you the measurement of angle 5, and we've already done this, so this is a quick review. We did it on that front page. If I give you the measurement of angle 5, can you tell me the measurement of angle 6? Do the 2 create a straight line? If they do, then you know the 2 have to add up to 180 degrees. So if I give you 5, you can tell me 6. And if you've got 5 and 6, you can name every single angle created in this image. Because once you know 5, you know 7, 1, and 3. Once you know 6, you know 6, 8, 4, and 2. Okay, so it's pretty easy. If you can subtract something from 180, then this lesson is extremely easy. It's just remembering what goes with what. Okay? All right, so let's look at this try it. And you've got to really watch how your instructions are worded. Okay, first it wants to know which angles are congruent with angle 8. Well, let's find angle 8. And now you're going to name all the angles that are congruent or the same as angle 8. Somebody tell me what the first one would be. Maddie R? 2, because those are exterior opposites. Good. So I can come over here and I can say that angle 2, notice how you have to notate that it's an angle. You got to use the little angle sign. Okay. What's another one? Okay, good, because it's opposite of 8. So angle 6. Somebody else, one more. Maddie M? 4, good. Because once you know 8 and 6 too, you can say that 4 is the other one. So angle 4. Okay, now the directions change a little bit and it wants to know which angles are supplementary to angle 8. which means they add up to 180 degrees. So which angle can you start with? And there's a couple of right answers here, but which can you start with? 5. The reason you can say 5 is because 5 and 8 together make up a straight line. And so you know that those two added together give you 180, which means they're supplementary. So I can say that angle 5. Once you've identified angle 5, every single angle that it corresponds with or it's congruent with is also going to work. So somebody that hasn't answered yet. Dayton, what is another one that is supplementary to 8? Good. 7. So angle 7. Okay. And again, right, it's because once we have identified 5, we can go 7. Caitlin, what's another one? Good. Angle 3. So I'm going to fill that in here. And then Briley, what's the last one? 1. Good. Angle 1. Okay. I'm not gonna take time to write this out, but I just want to talk about it. Use what you know about other angle relationships to explain why angle 4 and 5 are supplementary. Okay, why are 4 and 5 supplementary? The reason they're supplementary, and that means that these two together, let me erase if it'll let me just get something teeny. There we go. I want to know, can I prove that 4 and 5 added up give me 180? Okay. I'll just tell you now, it's an same side interior rule. They're going to give you 180. But the way you know that it does is because if 5 and 1 are the same, that means let's just say 5 is, let's just say 100 degrees, just to make it easy. If you say that 5 is 100 degrees, you know that 1 is 100 degrees, right? They have to be because they're of the opposites rule. Then if you look at the rule with, this, right? You know that this one has to be 80 degrees. Okay. And do 100 degrees and 80 degrees add up to that 180. So you can kind of prove it backwards by using the congruent rule to say that 1 and 5 are congruent, which means 1 and 4 are supplementary. And because 1 and 4 are supplementary, that means 4 and 5 have to be supplementary. And you can prove it by plugging in some numbers and just adding it up and making sure that every flat area adds up to 180 degrees. Okay, very good. All right, so let's look at this. I'm not going to talk through everything they're doing over here. I'm just going to say, I'm giving you this shape. We know they're parallel lines because of these angles, right? Or these arrows right here. So that makes T the transversal, right? If we know that 99 goes here, what else can we label as 99 degrees? Somebody that hasn't answered yet. Aiden? Is okay, they tell us that. What other angles can we label 99 based on the rules that we've talked about? 2. Okay, so I can say that's 99 degrees. Essie, what's another one I could say is 99? The 4, good. And there's one more. Corbin, what's the last one I can say is 99? 6. So just by being given 99, I'm already able to label 4 of the 8. Now let's come up with the other ones. How would I find angle 1? How could I find angle 1? It sits on a flat line with 99. Maylee? Yeah, take 180. I don't know why it keeps doing this today, but it is. It's jumping around on me all day. If I know the whole thing is 180 degrees, and I know that my one angle is 99, 180 minus 99 is what? Is it 81? Everybody agree with that? Yes. 180 minus 99, good, 81. Now that I have named angle 1 81 degrees, Jacob, what else could I label as 81 degrees? 3. Good. Dalton, what's another one? 5. Good. And Micah, the last one? 7. Good. So with the simple information of one angle at 99 degrees, I was able to fill in the angle of the entire rest of the drawing. Now it doesn't matter what question I'm asked, right? Once you fill in, I would do this. Anytime you're given a image like this, go ahead and fill in all the angles. Kind of, sometimes you just got to work backwards and jump around and kind of find all the different places where you know it equals 180. Fill in some blanks, use your opposite interior exterior rules, fill in everything. And then when you're done, you can go back to the problem. And if it says, what's the measurement of angle 2, of angle 4, of angle 6, of angle, it doesn't matter. You've got them all. And you got them all by just knowing the 99. All right. So they try to make it a little more difficult on us, but we're smarter than that, so we can handle it. Okay. They try to throw in some algebra at us. So we're going to look at this, try it. Look at the information that they give you. I'll highlight it and then I'll erase it so it doesn't get messy. First, they give us this weird equation for one of the angles. And then they tell us that this angle over here is 59. So if I take that information about 59, where else can I fill in 59? Essie? The 2, good. Okay, where else? Because right now that one doesn't really help me much. Where else? Maddie R? The 6, good. Oops, how about if I put 59 and not 69? All right, so I now know 6. I've got another one I can do, but I'm going to stop there because really I have all I need, because 6 sits on a straight line with my equation, right? So I know, even though it looks weird, I know that those two things added up equals 180. So let's write that out. I know that x plus 12, which is the measurement of that angle, it's not really a number, it's an equation, but that's okay. I know that that angle plus the 59 equals what? Equals 180 because they sit on a straight line together. Now, using what we know about algebra, remember I told you guys algebra never goes away, even in geometry. Let's combine like terms. So we've got x, what's 12 plus 59? 71. All right, everybody should have a calculator because everybody's going to figure this next step on their own. You're going to subtract 71 from both sides. Remember your wall. Okay, everybody agree? 109. Okay, good. Everybody agree with 109? All right. Now, is 109 the measurement for that angle? I got x equals 109, and that's what I was asked to do. You got to really watch the directions here. It said, what is the value of x? And I say x equals 109. Should I put 109 degrees? Is that the measurement? Let me do it in a different color here. What is the measurement of this angle? Is it 109? How would you find it? There's 2 different ways, and they're both right. Maylee? Yeah, we know that x is 109, so you'd put 109 plus 12, and that green does not show up, does it? Let's do black. We know that x equals 109, and so 109 plus 12 equals what? 121? Now, check yourself. Make sure you're right. These 2 right here form a straight line. Does 121 plus 59 equal 180? Yeah, so it checks out. 121. So 121 is the angle measurement, so that's what you put the degree on. So if the question is, what is the value of x? Just leave it as x equals 109. If the question was, what is the measurement of that angle? Then you would put 121. So just make sure that you know what the question's asking you, because it will determine whether or not you answer 109 or 121. Okay, makes sense? All right. Let's see. Skip that one. We just did one like that, so I'm going to skip those. And again, right, what must x equal for G and H to be parallel? Well, you're going to have to set it up, and you're going to have to find what everything equals. And like I said, the best way to do it is just start filling in what you know. You know that's 100. You know that's 100. You know that's 100, right? You know that this plus this has to equal 180. So you put 7x minus 4 plus 100 equals 180, and you solve for x, okay? All right, let's see. Scoot forward here. Okay, I want everybody to do this one real quick. So I want to walk around. I want to see everybody punching it in their calculator. Fill in, okay? Fill in everything that you know. You are now on page 362 on the number 9 under practice and problem solving. This would be your homework, but we're going to work it a little bit together.
Number 9.
Number 9. Yep. Everybody fill in what you know and then answer the question, which is right here. What is the value of u? That's the final thing you're trying to get to. Miss Gordon? Yes. I'll let her know. Thanks. Maddie, you're leaving. Miller, sorry. And you'll want to watch just the last 10 minutes of the video, Maddie, to get the 6-9 notes, okay? Given the 148 and 32, you can fill in every other angle in that image and get to where you know what u is. Answer the question. And when you answer it, you're answering it like this. The measurement of angle u equals, and then you're going to put something degrees. The measurement of angle u equals something. You see it? Here are just the names of the lines. So your answer is the measurement of angle u is no, this one is going to be this one. Did you get one? Straight line is 180, so 148 plus 32 is 180. What do you know about? This one is 32. What's this one? This one is 32. 32 and R. 32. These two are opposites. So that. Right hand color code. Opposites. Opposites. No, you don't have to go up. Alternate interior angles are the same. So if you know this one is 32, you know this one. If that one's 32, what's that? There you go. Yes. So you can't, you went 1, 2, 3, and you got way too many angles in your mind. So if you know that this one is 42, that's it. Yeah, good. Okay. All right. So they actually, you didn't really even have to do any math here. They did it for you because they told you the 148 and they told you the 32. Right? And if this one is 32.
Gage Mathis, please report to the office. Gage Mathis, report to the office.
if you know, remember exterior opposites, if that one's 32, you know this one's 32. Interior opposites, that means you know this one's 32. So without any math at all, you were able to say that this one was 32 degrees. And so the way you'd write it is the measurement of angle U equals 32 degrees. Okay, that's how you're going to write your answer. And if they didn't give you that 32, you could have still gotten it because they gave you the 148. And 148 and 32 give you 180. So even if they didn't give you that 32 and they ask you the measurement of U, you could have gone from 148 minus 180 to get 32 and then done your opposites rule to fill everything in. Okay. All right. Let's see. Flip 269. Very, very similar idea. Draw a big triangle. And it doesn't matter if it's a right triangle, an isosceles triangle, a scalene triangle. It does not matter. The same rule applies for every single triangle. You label your angles A, B, and C. Angle A plus angle B plus angle C is always going to equal, anybody know? It's 180 degrees. If I were able to detach that angle A and open up that triangle, it would open up to a flat line, right? If I could pull it apart at angle A and just slide those two walls down, it would make a flat line. And that's 180 degrees. So when you put it back up into the triangle, those all still have to add up to 180 degrees. Okay. These three are called interior angles. Okay. A, B, and C makes sense. They're on the inside of the triangle. Those are called interior angles. Interior angles always add up to 180 degrees. So if you know A and B, you can find C. Just subtract A and B, add A and B together, subtract that from 180, and you get the value of C. Now, if I was to extend this line out straight and call this D, this is an exterior angle. Makes sense. It's on the exterior of the triangle. And this should all make sense. It all centers around this whole 180 degree idea. If I take, let's say, I'll make these 65 and 35. I'm just kind of putting in some numbers here. If I say that A equals 45, and I say that B equals 55, okay? And I know this is not like a true scale, but, oops. If I add A plus B, what do I get? 100. All day. It's been jumping. Okay. If I add A plus B, I get 100. Everybody agree with that? So what does that make the measurement of C? I don't know why it's doing this today. Yeah, it makes C 80 degrees, right? Has to be. Because I know that A plus B takes up 100 of the degrees. That only leaves 80 left for C. I know that those three together have to add up to 180. So that gives me C. What is D's measurement now that I know C? It's 180 minus 80, which equals what? 100 degrees. I want you to notice something. If you add A plus B, you get 100. Okay, notice what is the measurement of the exterior angle. It's 100. There's two ways you can, and I don't care which way you do it. Okay, if you can remember that little quick rule, it'll save you some time. If you don't, it is not any big deal because you can get to it through adding everything and subtracting everything from 180. If you remember the rule that if you add this interior and this interior, it's going to equal the opposite exterior, then you can add those two together and get 100, and you can say that D is 100 degrees. If you forget that rule, it is no big deal. Why? Because you can take 45, whoops, You can take 45 and 55, add them together, subtract that from 180. You can find C, and then you can use the supplementary rule to find D. So you get it either way, and you get the same answer either way. It's just one is a little bit of a shortcut if you happen to remember that the two interior angles added up will always equal the exterior angle on the opposite side. Okay? I don't want you to stress about that little memory trick. Again, you can always get through it kind of the long way of just filling in along as you go. Okay? All right, so what do I mean by that? Well, let's, first of all, this one is super easy. Find the missing angle. Everybody should do this. What do they all have to add up to? 180. And you can do it one of two ways. You can take 180 minus 68 minus 40. Or you can take 108 minus, and you can add 68 and 40 together, which would be what, 128? 68 plus 40 equals 108. I don't care if you add A and C together first to find D, or A and B together first to find C, or subtract them all at once. It doesn't matter, because either way, what's everybody get is the answer. Corbin, what'd you get? 72. And either way, you get 72. So I know that this angle measures 72. Okay. If I was to an extended line here and ask you, what is the measurement of this angle? What would you tell me? No. Oh, that. Remember, an exterior angle is the addition of these two. And we already added those two together right here, didn't we, Brady? 108. What if you forget that rule? What if you forget the opposite angle rule? Well, that's okay. Can you do this? Can you have a straight line? So you know these have to equal 180. So it is still 108. No matter how you get there, it's always going to be straight lines always add up to equal 180. Interior triangles always add up to 180. Straight lines always add up to 180. As long as you can remember that, and you can remember the opposite rules on parallel lines, you can find any missing side length you have. Now, let's do this one real quick, and then we will be done with notes, and I'll tell you what your homework is. So this says that angle 2 is 68. So I'm going to come over here where there's an angle 2, and I'm going to put 68 because I'm going to fill in everything I'm given. Okay. Then it says angle 3 is 42. So I'm going to come over here where there's an angle 3, and I'm going to put 42. And it wants to know angle 4, which is right here. Okay, it wants to know angle 4. I can do it one of two ways. I can remember that these interior angles and the opposite exterior angle equal the same. So what is 68 plus 42? What is it? 110. So that means 4 equals 110. What if you forget that rule? Well, let's back at it a different way. Let's find angle 1. Angle 1 is 180 minus 110, right? Minus 68 minus 42, which is 70. If I know angle 1 is 70, then I can find angle 4 as a supplement. 180 minus 70 is 110. So you can get to it either way. Okay, either way you need to, you can get to it. All right, so we're going to do one together, and then you guys are going to be on your own for your homework. So let's go down here to the next page, practice and problem solving. Number 7. Angle 1 is what kind of angle of the triangle? Exterior, good. It's on the outside. Good. Angle 1 is equal to the sum of its opposite interiors. If you can remember that rule, opposite interiors. So let's add up the opposite interiors. 59 plus 56 is what? Whoops. 59 plus 56 is 115. So angle 1 is 115 degrees. Now let's test that. Let's check it out and see if it checks. 180 minus 59 minus 56 is what? I want to find that interior angle. 65. And if the interior angle is 65, do 65 and 115 equal that 180 of a flat line? Everything kind of hinges on that number 180. Whether you're talking about straight lines or triangles, everything hinges on 180. All right, for your homework, and then once I give it to you guys have got 5 minutes. Do not pack up. You've got time to get a couple of your homework problems done. Here's your homework. Go back to 6-8, page 364. Under assessment practice, you're going to do 18, 19, and part A, part B of 19. So that whole assessment practice. Okay, those are the only two you have to do from 6-8. Now, if you go to 6-9's homework, I want you to circle number 8. This is on page 369, page 8, or number 8, number 11, and number 14. And on number 11, what does this little red box mean? 90 degrees. So you'll need to remember that. And that's your homework. Okay, so you guys have got a few minutes in class. You should be able to get a couple of these knocked out. These 5 problems are your only homework. And then tomorrow you'll show Miss Hayne your homework. And then you'll work on the Savas in class tomorrow. And then we'll review topic 6 on Wednesday and Thursday and test on Friday. If you have any questions at home, shoot me an email.